You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Got questions about your hound's health? Need the facts on Fido's fitness or food? You want to unleash your pup's potential? Well, you've come to the right place because it's time to win with dogs. Here, we learn how easy it is to naturally improve the lives of our furry friends. So sit, stay, and get ready to win with dogs. With me, Raquel Wynne.
Hey listeners, back again to Win with Dogs for another exciting episode here on Pet Life Radio. Thanks for joining me. I'm Raquel, your host, and today we have something very special for you that I'm very excited about. I don't know that much about, but we're going to learn all we can from my guest. And we are going to be talking with Nicole Dorey. She is a student and assistant professor at the University of Florida, working at a place called the Canine Cognition Lab. It's canine cognition and behavior, and they're studying how much dogs can learn from us, how much they're paying attention to us. So it's going to be fascinating to see just what kinds of tests they're doing with dogs, to see just how smart dogs can become, I suppose. In the Canine Cognition Lab in Florida, their research participants are dogs that live in typical homes with their owners. They're not lab-raised dogs. They're pets. They don't use any invasive or unpleasant methods to collect data. Oftentimes, the pup parents are there participating in the tests. So it's very rewarding for everyone involved. I can't wait to get talking with Nicole and see what they are up to there at the Canine Cognition Lab. So hang tight. We're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to talk with Nicole Dorey and the Canine Cognition and Behavior Lab at the University of Florida. Don't go away.
Hey, don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back to Win with Dogs right after this quick water break.
Pawfume Dog Grooming and Finishing Spray is proud to be a new sponsor of Pet Life Radio. Pawfume's super long-lasting sprays are available in 4 unique fragrances. Each Pawfume spray is fortified with the finest conditioners and detanglers to make combing out your dog more fun. Pawfume retails for only $2 per 6-ounce bottle. Pawfume is available nationwide at all Dollar General and Family Dollar stores. Why pay more to have your dog smell great? Pawfume, Pawfume.
It's time for school for you and your friends, your furry best friends. Train your dog the fun and easy way with Teacher's Pet Sessions. Teacher's Pet host Pia Silvani teaches you step-by-step how to train your dog the fun and easy way. You get 8 30-minute live audio training sessions, complete transcripts of each session, plus a basic training manual to get you and your dog off to a great start. Training begins the moment you bring your dog home. Teacher's Pet Sessions offers positive reinforcement training to shape your dog's behavior and encourages upbeat, enthusiastic responses to ensure that your dog will enjoy learning. Teacher's Pet Sessions dog training is fun at both ends of the leash. So listen, learn, and laugh with your dog with Teacher's Pet Sessions. Get your copy of Teacher's Pet Sessions Volume 1 today. To order, go to teacherspetsessions.com.
Hi, this is Pia Silvani, your host. Bring your dog, tug toy, and treats, and get ready to have some fun.
teacherspetsessions.com.
When you're looking to add a pet into your life, consider adopting a homeless animal from your local shelter or rescue group. Whether you want a kitten, puppy, or a more mature pet, a purebred or a one-of-a-kind mixed breed, even a rabbit or hamster, your shelter has the best selection of animals anywhere, all screened for good health and behavior. PetLifeRadio.com presents Take Me Home with your host, Susan Daffron. Join us each week as we showcase wonderful pets, tell stories, and even throw some pet education into the mix. So get ready to find out why the pet adoption option can be a great way to add a furry companion into your life. Take Me Home every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com. Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Thanks for hanging around. We're back to Wynne with Dogs with me, Raquel Wynne, on Pet Life Radio.
Welcome back to Wynne with Dogs. Thanks for hanging with us. So, have you ever wondered how much your dog understands you, or if they're watching your body language? I often talk about how in tune dogs are to our nonverbal communication. They're masters of it. And I'm sure Nicole, Dorey, my guest here today, will have a lot of input on this particular subject. Nicole, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
I'm excited to talk to you just as much as you're excited to talk to me.
Oh, good. Then it's going to be a beautiful symbiotic relationship.
Best
Nicole,
kind.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Nicole, currently you're a postdoctoral student at Dr. Wynne at the University of Florida at the Canine Cognition Lab. I understand you've completed your doctoral work in England at the University of Exeter studying social learning in a variety of zoo household species. It's fascinating to me. It seems that your interests lie in human and animal interaction, and I would love to hear how you got started in this field.
Oh, gosh. I started as a teenager, actually, working out in zoos and trying to get my hands pretty much on anything I could get my hands on.
Did you take care of baby monkeys? I always wanted to do that.
No, I never had the chance. There has been baby monkeys at the zoo when I was there, but they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me raise them. I don't know. No, I haven't had that chance.
Oh, darn. So
I worked with monkeys, but I haven't been able to, hand raise monkeys.
Oh, so you started at the zoo working just around all different kinds of animals, and I assume that you started realizing, hey, wait, there's some kind of communication going on here that maybe a lot of people aren't aware of, and I want to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I mean, you notice that with, your pets at home, and of course with zoo animals, when you're working with the same animals day after day, you start watching their behavior and your interaction, and, it comes to a point that they know what you're going to do before you're going to do it, or they know what you're going to ask before you're going to ask it. And so how do they know that? What are they picking up on? Obviously, they're not psychic. They're not picking up on your brain waves or anything. They're picking up on your body language. And so what type of body language are they picking up on?
Yeah, and actually, we know that most even human communication, 93% of human communication is nonverbal, which I find fascinating, that number, because most of us aren't really paying attention. We don't even realize we're communicating nonverbal. And here we have our dogs who are totally nonverbal. They're watching our every move. And like you're saying, they start anticipating stuff. I mean, it is almost like they're reading your mind, but I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the gestures that the humans are making and the cues. So what kinds of cues are you looking for coming from the humans?
Yeah, we're giving off a lot of things. Research has been done on gaze, just looking at things, your head movement, and your arms. How are you pointing? And different types. Will they follow a point from a baby doll, or will they follow a point from a human? And does it matter? And so those are the kinds of things.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it does. They kind of they won't follow an inanimate object's point. But they will follow a human point. So it's social in context. Dogs follow points even better than our closest relative, apes. Apes have been found to do very poorly on following human points, and dogs are much better at it. And that's one of our main questions in our lab is why.
Ooh, that's fascinating. And why? That's a really good question. The first thing that comes to my mind is, well, these dogs are dependent on us for food. And for survival and for their everything. So of course they're going to be more tuned into us is what I would think. But then on the other hand, I know that dogs of all animals, they want to be involved in our endeavors and mimic us and be a part of the family. So maybe they're more motivated by, like a social drive too. Have you discerned what really is the motivation, and is it even the same for every dog?
Yeah, we haven't looked into that particularly. I mean, these are definitely some of the theories we have, and I think it's a combination of both. I mean, I don't know how you can trying to separate out the history of the dog becoming domesticated as humans and, needing us for that survival and the social connection. I mean, I think it's kind of one and the same, and I think they both play a role into why dogs, why it's beneficial for dogs to read our body language and to understand kind of how we're communicating with them.
Yeah, so they follow gestures, we know, better than even chimps, which is fascinating, or apes, which is really fascinating. What about mimicking behaviors or, trying to duplicate our behaviors? And I ask you this thinking about, the freestyle, the dogs that will, you can train them to dance with you, do the freestyle classes, or, agility dogs. How much imitation is there?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked about imitation, because that's what my whole PhD was on.
Oh,
and
perfect.
You knew that. No,
I didn't actually. I actually didn't, but
See, we're in sync. You're reading my mind. No, it's hard when you start researching imitation, and it's hard to define imitation scientifically, and that's that's the problem. We're coming into when we look at imitation as a scientist. Imitation defined in the literature has to occur. It has to be a novel behavior. It has to occur without reinforcement or learning for it to be considered this true imitation. And so there's other types of social learning that scientists have come up with that aren't imitation. And so dogs that copy your movement, you might have reinforced it. You might have said, "Oh, that's really good," and without noticing it. And that's what happens with babies a lot, with speech, right? The baby comes out with some sound that sounds close to something that the mother is excited about, and the mom's like, "Yeah, that's it," and then repeats it and reinforces those closer approximations to the target behavior. And we see a lot of this with behavior that we once thought was imitation. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's operantly conditioned, a lot of the imitation there. We've actually looked at imitation in dogs, and we haven't found anything. There's a new study that just came out this week that didn't find any kind of matching between object imitation.
So it's rewarded behavior more than you're setting up that precedent from just your own, how you react to what they do, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's what we've been finding. Maybe somebody out there can find something more about it, but that's our conclusion.
Yeah, and before, let me back up, you said, there's not a lot of scientific proof that you can back it up. You have these theories, and you're having trouble getting the science to back your theories, which, having said that, I have found in my own practice with hands-on therapies, oftentimes I'm out of the box and there is no proof. In fact, some of the literature actually counters what I'm finding. So I think it's remarkable that you guys are just going with it anyway. And maybe you're going to you are going to be providing the science behind it, backing it up.
There's two main theories within at least the pointing literature. The imitation stuff is really, really hard, and we've kind of dropped that line of research. But the gestures, the human gestures, there's two main theories right now. The one is that these behaviors occur because of the evolutionary consequences of the domestication process. Dogs, through the domestication process and through their history, have developed this ability to understand human gestures because it's important for your survival, like you said. Mm-hmm. However, and with this, I guess I should back up. With this, there's been research that has kind of backed this up a little bit. Wolves. Past research has found that wolves haven't been able to follow points, that apes haven't been able to follow points, and that other domesticated animals such as horses, goats, and cats have been able to follow points.
They have been.
And so they have been. However, when this research gets replicated, we're finding out that there are some wolves that can follow points. We published a paper in Animal Behavior last year showing that highly socialized wolves that are socialized during their critical period when they're puppies, they're around humans 24/7, that when they become adults, they can follow human points. We are testing horses at the moment and are finding that they're not able to follow human points. And we tested shelter dogs that have been abandoned, not specifically we try to not test dogs that have that owner surrendered, but dogs that they find in fields kind of thing. And we
total abandoned.
Abandoned dogs. And we found that they're not able to follow points. In fact, they're worse than pet dogs at following points. And so this research is coming together saying that, it looks like they learn it through their lifetime.
Yeah, and how much of that, though, like both of my dogs were rescues, and I know that with my Bichon, Jake, he was so scattered, like he could not focus. He wouldn't make eye contact. He was panting. He was just a nervous wreck, basically. And it was only through his own kind of calming and getting some self-esteem and getting some focus that he could follow my points, So I wonder
We're actually looking into that right now. We're looking into what happens if we play with them for, an hour, 2 hours before we start testing them. Does that improve their ability?
Does it? Have you found anything?
We have not. We have not found that it does.
Oh gosh.
We just started this line. But as of right now, we haven't finished this research, so it's out there.
I would be so curious. I don't know if you've read a book, and I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but there's a book called Hidden Messages in Water, and it's a scientist who's taken pictures of water molecules and looked at them under a microscope, and then he analyzed the same water. He had people talk over the water like, love, we love you, and re-examine the crystals, and they were beautifully formed, symmetric, crystalline structures. And then the water molecules that had like, I hate you, you're terrible water, those crystals became disformed and asymmetric. So I wonder if you would maybe indulge me when you're at your lab next. I would be so curious to just having your intention, like, not just playing with them, but maybe doing a hold, like an energetic hold, and intending that they be more focused. I really wonder if they can pick up on that, because I've had tremendous behavioral changes in my clients, my canine clients, just, doing hands-on work. Their whole behavior change. It's really, really, really fascinating to me. So anyway, that was just my own indulgence. Thank you, Nicole.
You're fine.
Before we come back, right here we have a good breaking point. So I'm going to take another short break.
Okay.
Everyone out there, hang tight, get some water. And again, if you want to know more about this, you can visit caninecognition.com and check into it. But we'll be right back with Nicole Dorey from the Canine Cognition Lab at the University of Florida. Don't go away.
Hey, don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back to Wynne with Dogs right after this quick water break.
Give your dog some thought with Dog Thoughts. It's the iPhone application that everyone's talking about.
Hey, what do you think of this? A man in Davis, California says he's invented an application for the iPhone that claims it can read your dog's mind. Huh? No, it's true. Now, I read about it on my cat's Twitter page. That's why.
Jay Leno talked about it, CBS reported on it, and now you can see what all the buzz is about. Created just for dog lovers, Dog Thoughts makes taking photos of your furry best friend more fun. Shake your dog and read his mind. On your iPhone, of course. Take a pic of your pup, shake your phone, and watch as his thoughts appear on the screen. Does he have a bone to pick with you, or is he having a tail-wagging day? Get your Dog Thoughts iPhone app today. Just 99 cents. Go to PetLifeRadioPromotions.com. That's PetLifeRadioPromotions.com.
Greetings, human. What planet am I on?
Welcome to Pet Planet. Here's a copy of Pet Planet Magazine, Florida's most informative and fun pet resource magazine. It features heartwarming stories and informative articles from local and national pet experts.
Excellent.
Pet Planet Magazine offers Operation Planet Rescue, helping rescued pets find new homes. And it's available at 500 locations in South and Central Florida and 24/7 on the internet at PetPlanetMagazine.com. If you're out and about with your pet, you may be featured in Paparazzi, candid pictures of you and your pet. For up-to-date pet-friendly events, activities, and pet-related services and products, Pet Planet Magazine is your final destination.
I shall take this magazine home with me.
Back to your home planet?
No, to my condo in Boca.
Pet Planet Magazine. Check them out at www.petplanetmagazine.com or 352-394-8578. It's out of this world.
Having a rough day? Longing for the dog days of summer? Think your fun furry friend lives a dog's life? Well, find out everything you're begging to know as Pet Life Radio presents It's a Doggy Dog World with pet expert and award-winning author Liz Palaika. Every dog has his day, and you'll find out how to make your dog's day fun and rewarding. Every week, on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Thanks for hanging around. We're back to Wynne with Dogs with me, Raquel Wynne, on Pet Life Radio.
And we are back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Nicole, okay, what kinds of, I'm just curious, if I have a dog and I want to test some gesturing principles with my own dog, are there tests that people can do with their own pets at home to kind of see how far along their dogs are in this process?
Yeah, absolutely. So our tests are pretty simple. We have, we have 2 containers that are equal distance apart between the person, about 0.5, so it's about a meter between the two, and then you pick the center. You stand in between the 2 containers, so you have
so
1
it's like
meter
a triangle.
No. So you have a container, and then yourself, and then another container. So you're
all in a line. Okay.
You're all in a line, and then your containers are 1 meter apart.
Okay.
And then you have somebody hold your dog. Or you put your dog into a downstay if you have a very well-trained dog, and you put him in a downstay about 2 meters away from you in front of you. And you can do this. There's many different types of points. The point that we use sometimes is a momentary proximal point. Momentary meaning it's very brief. It's about 1 second. And proximal meaning that your hand is 40 centimeters, your pointing finger is 40 centimeters from the container. So you're standing up and you do a full point. So your hands are in the center of your body. Mm-hmm. You point to the container for less than a minute. You bring your arm back to neutral, and then you release your dog and see where he goes.
Cool.
And if he goes to the right thing, then you give him a treat. And then you can control for any other body movements that you're doing by having a control condition in which you do everything exactly the same except you don't point. So you just call your dog over and see which container he chooses. And what we find out is dogs are really good at this. You know, they get over 80% right on average, and they don't get any controls right. So it shows that they are following your plan.
No placebo is working. That's good. So I wonder, you're talking about momentary and proximal, and, you know, I often have found and say, so I'm not sure if I'm actually right, so I'm looking for some validity, I always say that, you know, dogs pay more attention to smaller gestures, lower tones of voice. You know, like, for example, if my dog is barking at someone coming to the door and I'm yelling at my dog, the dog is thinking I'm barking with it, you know, rather than being very calm and saying, Jake, no, you know, then he'll listen to me. Have you found that dogs are more respondent to smaller gestures, or does it matter? Do they go for big ones, little ones?
It doesn't matter, at least with the dogs we've tested. The different types of points, like right now there's a study going on in our lab that are testing all of the different types of points, from tapping on the container to all the way to the hardest one, which I just told you about. And it's a really small difference in between those two. I mean, extremely small. So as far as these kind of points go, it doesn't matter. Movement doesn't matter. So like pointing to it a couple of times doesn't seem to really have that much of a difference in it. Now there is a slight difference. So with distance, so how far your finger is to the point seems to have a slight difference.
Okay, that's good to know. Also, what about verbal cues? I mean, we're talking about dogs being nonverbal. So are we to assume that, you're doing mainly nonverbal cues, I would assume. What about, I guess what I'm asking is, are we finding that dogs are responding to what we're saying to them, or is it just really the body language? I mean, we can drop even the vocal part of it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, I think dogs, I don't know. I mean, I've done some training, and my dog, especially if it's really busy, she watches my body more than she listens to my voice.
Yeah.
There has been, do you find the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Most of our research has been nonverbal cues, and dogs understand us just fine. There has been a study out on tone and our tone, and I don't know that much about it, but I do know that dogs do. I don't know that much as far as like what kind of tones they used in the study, but I do know that they did find that they react differently to different tones.
See, okay, well, now that you said that, I just totally was a hypocrite, because at the same time, I say, I definitely talk to my dogs like my children, Carrie Ellen, I'll be the first to admit, I'm talking to them, and I often say and think that, yes, they're nonverbal, but maybe these one-word commands like sit and stay and all that doesn't really give your dog a chance to discern your tone and your mood and all that. I can yell at my dog with a happy tone and he won't think I'm yelling at him. You know what I'm saying? Or so, yeah, I just totally I've said it, I've double talked there, but you're right. I think tone is important. And, this is so interesting. Tone is important, but they mainly follow nonverbal cues, I guess would be my theory.
Yeah. I don't want to go with that. Just, I mean, we haven't done the research comparing the scientists.
Yeah.
I don't know of any study out there that has looked at nonverbal versus verbal.
Let's start it. Let's start.
Yeah, let's go.
So I'm game. So what kind of stuff are you planning for in the future there, and yourself in your own life? What are you doing in the lab?
So the lab, we would like to get our hands on some puppies. We have a study coming out or submitted on puppies learning gestures, and we found that by about 21 weeks, puppies start understanding human gestures as well as adult dogs.
Because they're our best friend. That's why.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be cool but the problem with the study is that we couldn't control for the environment that the dog grew up in. And so we want to see, what's the difference between environments as far as a normal household environment and one where we give them, very little pointing. Can they still understand pointing?
So you're doing nature versus nurture. Cool. That's a controversial topic.
I think it's a little bit of both, but let's, how much do they need? Yeah. And so that's our big plan. We're studying bats and how well bats understand points at a zoo facility, and we're finding they get them right.
Wow.
They understand points, so that's kind of
cool.
And
so the apes don't understand the points at all. Don't even do it.
Yeah, not according to the research.
Why, I wonder, do you think? Are they just over it?
I don't know. My guess is that most of the ape research is done in laboratories.
Yeah, they're pissed already, I'm sure.
Well, but they don't have the interaction with humans like, zoo house bats have.
Gosh, that's so that touches on something, just our whole how we treat animals and then consequently how they react to us. I mean, all of the stuff you're studying really could be groundbreaking on just how we treat animals, which I think is definitely an indication of the enlightenment of society, how well we treat our animals. To quote Gandhi, to steal from Gandhi, I will. Well, awesome. That's really fascinating. I wonder, what else, is there anything I didn't cover that is going on down there? So puppies.
Well, we have a completely other line of research, studying functional analysis. So functional analysis was used to decrease problem behaviors in autistic children. and mentally challenged adults, banging heads, biting themselves, stuff along those lines.
Yeah.
And it looks at what type of environmental conditions may be reinforcing this. And so for my master's, there was a self-mutilating baboon that I worked with at a zoo. And so I decided to run this.
What did the what was the baboon doing? He was like cutting himself?
He was biting his leg and spinning in circles, and he was giving himself some really bad wounds.
Okay.
By doing it. And so I was wondering what was reinforcing this behavior. What in his environment did he find? I mean, obviously the behavior was increasing, so it had to be reinforcing in some way, and why. And so in this condition, you try to look at the animal's environment and you try to figure out what variables may be reinforcing it. So, is it just self-reinforcing? They like the feeling of it. Or it reduces pain somewhere else or something along those lines.
Wow.
Is it for attention? So every time he bites himself, somebody comes up and says, "Oh, don't do that, you're hurting yourself." And although you're trying to help, you're still reinforcing the behavior.
Yeah.
Is it to escape from demand? So you tell the person or the animal to do something and they bite themselves and you say, "Okay, never mind, you don't have to do it. I don't want you to bite yourself anymore." And then there's a control condition, which controls for all of that stuff. And we added in a tangible condition. So we're holding a toy or something of tangible value, and they bite themselves, and they're like, "Here, you can have it." Like they do a lot with children in grocery stores. You're crying, "Here, you can have it."
Yeah.
So we did this. We did this with this monkey at a zoo, and we found out the keepers were actually reinforcing it by running up to the baboon and telling them to stop. That was the only attention the baboon really got during the day. And so when we went into treatment, we started to tell the keepers to stop, reinforcing this, ignore it, and then reinforce lip smacking. That is something that baboons do as like a greeting. And lip smacking went up, and self-injurious behavior went down, and it stopped completely. So we're doing this with
saved that baboon. You saved him. I love it.
So we're doing this with dogs and problem behavior in dogs and finding out exactly what's maintaining the behavior. We're starting out with something simple like jumping up.
Yeah.
Why do dogs jump up? And obviously it's different for each individual dog. And normally you do dog training. How do you stop? If you go into a house, how do you normally tell the owner to stop having the dog jump up on them?
Ooh, that's a tough thing because just like, they're parenting these dogs. So a lot of times the parents don't want to hear that they're doing it. But what I do is I physically turn my back on the dog and just completely ignore the dog.
You take away the attention.
Totally. That's what I do.
Yeah. And that's what that's what dog trainers do. I mean, that's what I learned to do. That's what everybody learned to do. Well, in this research that we started, we've ran 3 dogs so far, and attention wasn't the thing that was maintaining the jumping up.
Yeah.
It was access to a tangible item. We have one dog that jumped up more for his leash than in any other condition, and we had 2 dogs that jumped up for a toy of some sort. More than any other condition. So we actually gave them, so in the baseline, we actually gave them attention for jumping up. We let them out of the sit or lie down, and they jumped up. We're like, okay, you don't have to sit or lie down. You can do whatever you want. We did an ignore condition where we just ignored them the whole time. And then we did an attention condition where if they jumped up, we gave them lots of attention. And all 3 dogs jumped up more for that tangible item than intention. And in fact, attention was really low as far as the key. Yeah, which is really cool.
That's
so this is new. We've only ran 3 dogs on this, but it's not always what we think it is.
Yeah,
that's what I learned too. You come through a doorway, you ignore the dog. You take away the attention, but that's not what's maintaining the jumping up.
Yeah, and my dog, my Bichon, especially, we just had to put our Angus to sleep a few weeks ago, and he went through a period where he was super, hyperventilating when we'd come in because he was experiencing some separation anxiety when we left, I'm sure. And he actually, the only way we could get him to calm down was to sit quietly with him and just to give him, like you're saying, more attention, very calm, don't talk, you know what I mean? Breathing, slow our own breathing until that dog calmed down, or our dog calmed down. So yeah, you're right. He reacted with more attention. It actually helped him. And funny you should mention that, because the only reason I was adapting my behavior is because I was kind of feeling a little bit sorry for him and feeling bad that I had to leave him. So I was going to give him more attention instead of ignore the behavior. And you're right, it actually did quell the behavior. So that's really...
you know, each individual dog is different. And I think a lot of times in our dog training, we have a solution for every problem. You know, if the dog's digging, then you give them a place they can dig. You know, I mean, there's definite protocols for each of the bad behaviors, and I think we really need to start realizing that, you know, each individual dog has a different history, and each history has a different type of reinforcer, and so we need to come up with, you know, quick ways of testing what may be reinforcing these behaviors, because it's not always the generic thing that we always do, the default.
Yeah. Well, Nicole, unfortunately, we're out of time, but thank you so much. This is all fascinating, and, you know, it really just reinforces that we have so much to learn from animals about ourselves, about the world we live in, about us, and so thank you for all the awesome work you guys are doing down there. It's really...
thanks for having me and letting me share it with all of you.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. So if you're out there listening and you have a puppy that you want to get involved in some testing and you're in Florida, you can check into the Canine Cognition Lab. It's caninecognition.com. And Nicole will be there working with pups.
Yeah.
And Nicole, I love what you're doing. Again, thank you so much, and keep up the good work. And if you get any good information, please email me, and we'd love to have you back on the show again.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Sure. So all of you... Yeah, you're welcome. If you have any questions about this episode, please email me at raquel@petliferadio.com, or you can, like I said, check into caninecognition.com. All this information is on our website, Pet Life Radio, so you can get all this info. Again, be good to your pups. Please be good to your pups. They are here to teach us so much, and I just invite you to go out there and win with your dog. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Till next time.
Exercise, nutrition, interaction, and love make for one healthy, happy hound. Give yourself the gift of knowledge on demand every week right here at Pet Life Radio with me, Raquel Wynne, and Win with Dogs.